Morning people, welcome back to F Politics. Your food is about to get even more expensive if you live in the UK, but the news is still lying to you as to why your food costs so much. This was a representative from the British Retail Consortium on Sky News just a few hours ago.
These are your figures, aren't they, actually? So food prices are rising at their fastest pace in 18 months.
What this is measuring is a similar basket of goods to a similar basket of goods. A number of factors at play all coming together. Firstly, some global factors, so commodity prices are rising, poor harvests on some commodities means that increased prices going into businesses, but also more significantly increased costs, many self-imposed from a government point of view. We saw last year's budget hit the industry very hard, particularly the national insurance rises.
So the news is currently sounding the alarm about a rise in inflation when it comes to food prices from 4 to 4.2. Well, Brexit increased food prices in the UK by 6% in the first couple of years. The London School of Economics has calculated that Brexit is responsible for about a third of food price inflation. With the UK Food and Drink Association, which represents UK food and drink manufacturers, so the highest authority on what is going on with British food, saying that Brexit is a major factor in UK food prices going up, adding literally billions of pounds onto UK food costs in the last few years. And this is the problem that you get when the news is focused on just what's new. Because yes, as the CEO of the British Retail Consortium just said, recent global factors, things like wars and oil prices, are going to have a significant effect on the cost of living crisis. And so will recent decisions over taxes and national insurance. But if you actually want to address the cost of living crisis fundamentally, then you have to focus A, on the stuff that you can actually control, and you can't control global factors, and B, you have to focus on the things that are going to have the largest effect on our economy. Especially as the rise in national insurance that businesses now have to pay, which she was pointing to, is because the government is trying to collect more taxes after Brexit cost the government £40 billion a year in lost tax revenue. So she's pointing to the symptoms and not the cause. Because you just saw the British Retail Consortium on Sky News talking about how things are costing more. And so you would think that if they're not mentioning Brexit today, that means Brexit isn't really playing a part. But the British Retail Consortium themselves just a few months ago was talking about how if Keir Starmer goes through with this Brexit reset, where we basically agree to follow the rules of the EU, then that would make the trade a lot easier and lower prices in the UK supermarkets. Because this is an article from the very same people you just saw on Sky News talking about how when the UK left the EU and no longer followed the rules of the EU, that made trade more expensive and added significant costs to UK supply chains. And yet that wasn't mentioned in a news story specifically about how UK food prices are going up. So it's not like these people don't know that undoing Brexit would significantly improve the quality of life of everybody in the UK. It's an unspoken secret. So again, I say anybody who is talking to you about the cost of living crisis, about poverty in the UK, who is not mentioning Brexit, doesn't give a shit about you. They'd much rather let UK supermarkets continue to get away with making record profits while raising prices and firing people, and never question the policy that Nigel Farage built his entire career off, because if people did start to question Brexit and did start to hold the politicians like Nigel Farage responsible for the poverty that they have caused, then the angry mobs that we keep seeing on the news, they wouldn't be outside the homes of asylum seekers. I'm Femi. Make sure you follow F Politics. If politics doesn't F you, have a great week.